Yellow again, guys. It's your coach here, back with another What If video to What If Naruto was an Emperor Part 2, the final part of this series. So thank you for liking and subscribing to the channel, guys. We might have already reached like 200 subscribers by now or something like that. I don't care anymore. I just care about bringing you guys the best content you guys can ever get out of this channel. So let's begin with this What If. So we begin this What If with envoy from the Hidden Leaf pulling up to the Moonlight Empire. When they arrive to the Moonlight Empire, they're shocked by what they see. How advanced this place is. They also see the airships flying, like those from the Land of Snow, but these ones look like much more advanced. They even look at the city as it is, which is looking very beautiful, peaceful. It's tranquil. You can actually like feel, like that presence. Even when Jiraiya, like first reached here, he felt like, the nature energy level is going crazy. This place is filled to the brim with nature energy. So, as they're now heading inside, they eventually like arrive, at the main gates, which, they didn't escort it inside as they say, we've been expecting you guys envoys from the leaf. Which, they are shocked about, but, they didn't continue the journey onwards. So, they then given a hotel for them to freshen up and, do like some of that stuff as they're told that they can meet with the emperor the next day. So they can take this opportunity to go around and explore the village, the city, not the village, damn it. So, he then began the exploration with, Jiraiya asking, for some hot spring places, which, they then like tell him which the hot springs are. As he heads there and sees, they're like mixed pots, which, Jiraiya is happy about as, he then goes in for a dip, where, the rest of the team, starts to explore around, reading the history of the place, eating some of the food. They eventually meet back up at the hotel and rest. So, one of Naruto's gods, tells him that, the envoy from the leaf has arrived to this place. Vira then says, yeah, I've been expecting them. Make sure, we let them in first thing tomorrow morning, so I can get done with it. So, after this is done, Naruto, then goes where, his two girlfriends are, as, Kaguya is also there, as well as, Otoya. So, Otoya eventually came to accept Kaguya, and, they then became like a sister-like relationship, with, Otoya being the older sister and Kaguya being the younger one. It's like Naruto managed to break Kaguya out of her, her tough skull, her tough, her tough skin. So, when Kaguya was released, flashback, when Kaguya was released, Black Sets immediately felt the connection as, he then rushed over to where she was, as, he then lashed onto her, which, Black Sets tried to tell her, to try and, like, attack Naruto for, him ruining the plan and everything, which, Kaguya then says, it's okay. So after that is done, Kaguya, then, like, erases, Setsu's personality for, wanting, revenge and stuff, into a kind and loving personality, and, one which is there to protect. So Naruto then has, Black Setsu, spy on the rest of the nations, which, Obito is pretty pissed about, that Black Setsu betrayed him. So yeah. So, the next morning, Naruto then tells the miner about the envoy from the leaf arriving, which, Atori is pretty pissed about, as well as Kaguya, since, Naruto told her his story, so she's pretty pissed that, they'd banish him for doing his mission correctly. So after all this, they have a little bit of fun making out, and all those sorts of stuff, which Naruto then puts his excellent Uzumaki stamina to good use, which, he leaves them both pretty much satisfied. After, their night of, some good, they eventually sleep as they wake up tomorrow morning. In the morning, they do their morning routines with, Naruto, Kaguya, and Adoria having a shower together, After that, they then change their respective clothing. So, Kaguya's complexion is not that pale white, but, she's a bit pale with long white hair. I'm gonna show you in Kaguya, in a princess attire some other time, if I ever get the chance to do it. So, with the envoy from the leaf, wash up, get ready, get breakfast and everything, as they then head over, to the castle, which you can see on screen. I think, right, yeah, that's the castle, which you can see on screen. So they head over to the castle, they're accompanied by, 12 guards, which these guards, have masks on them. Yeshua like takes note of his mask. They look like, the guards which are like, the fire daimyo. As he then puts this at the back of his head for later. So as they then enter, they're invited, to the council chamber where, most of the council is there. As they go inside. And the inside they're greeted with a place, which, has like some gold trimmings, bronze, some ivory. It's majestic and beautiful. It's almost like stuff you can think of. It's just beautiful. So, they then see like a red carpet which leads over, to a big throne as well as a giant round table which is there. So, they then reach the round table and then take the seats. After a bit, 3 thrones are there. As Naruto, Kaguya, and Athora eventually present themselves as they enter in. Introducing the Emperor, the Slayer of the Dragons, the Uniter of the West, Emperor. The first Emperor. They don't say his name, they just say they're the first Emperor. His not doing anything goes and takes his seat. So, Naruto has changed since, with the absorption of the, the Gentiles. His hair has grown from blonde to a bit pale, but, it's blonde, something like that, blonde gold, something like that. As Kaguya and Adoya both have their seats either side of Naruto. As Naruto sits in the center, with his throne being much taller than theirs. His Naruto's throne it's like the basic throne with gold everywhere, 2 lions on the armrests, as well as very comfortable seat. So Naruto sits down, one of the council members which is there then says, "My lord, we're introducing like the envoy from the Eden Leafage. They've come seeking audience with you." Which not the announcement says, "Okay, leaf people, speak what you may, because my time is very short. I have other things to be doing right now. I just prioritize you since you are visiting." So the leaf doesn't waste time. They get into action. As Danzo then like stands up and says, "Your Honor," which puts a bad taste in Danzo's mouth as he speaks that with a bit of venom, which is not caught by everybody except for Jiraiya and Naruto, as well as Athora and Kaguya. They catch it. She says, "My lord, we have come here seeking an alliance with your land." Peter then says, "An alliance? What terms would this alliance be based on?" As Danzo starts to list some random stuff like he's supposed not just like the emperor has to forfeit his crown to Sasuke Uchiha. The emperor is to like share all his technological advances, medicational advances, his wealth. He's supposed to give into the Uchiha. He's also supposed to forfeit like the 2 beautiful girls he has. He's supposed to name Sasuke as the next king, the king after him. He's also like all this random stuff is in favor of the leaf. If not then asks for the scroll, is he then takes the scroll, he then starts reading it. Naruto hands over the scroll to Athora. Naruto then says, "Athora-chan, I think I'm going senile," he says. Is Athora then takes a look at this. Kaguya also takes a look at this. And then like start chuckling to themselves. So Naruto then says, "No, I'm not gonna agree to any of these terms because they're horrendous terms." Bison then says, "Huh? You dare not agree to our terms? Don't you know how strong we are? We're the strongest village in the elemental nations," he says. So Naruto seeing this, then activates Shishui's eye as then says like he wants to bind Naruto as well. But Naruto, because he has his dojutsu off, he then gets bound, by the Koto Matsukami. Kaguya and um Atoria seeing this, they immediately snap their fingers as like the army comes inside as it surrounds these people. So Kaguya then like uses opens her third eye as she then like scans Naturo's mind for the commands which turns put inside as she then removes them from Naturo's mind, which after that Naruto then goes back to normal. Naruto then gets angry beyond belief, as as he steps down from the pedestal he is, the ground like cracks under him as says, "You dare come to my empire, demand things here, huh? You dare try to control me like I'm sort of a weapon," Naruto says with venom. He then tells his army to bind Danzo and the rest of these rookies and tells them that, take Danzo to the gallows, which, they then take him. All the rookies are watching, as Danzo is then put on the gallows. They chop off his arm and remove, the other Sharingan in his eye. Sasuke seeing this, he's pretty much pissed at Danzo, that Danzo is this stuff on him. So, Danzo is then hanged as, his body gets, eaten by some of Naturo's sharks, pet sharks he keeps, which they then eat his body up. So, after all that, Naruto then invites Jiraiya inside. Once like the other rookies were now put in prison, he invites Jiraiya inside. He and Jiraiya starts to have a chat. Which Jiraiya tells him, like your Naruto, is good to see you. And says, "Oh, it's good to see you, old pervert." As they start chuckling at each other. He then asks Jiraiya if he enjoyed the hot springs and the mixed baths. Which Jiraiya then says, "Yes, I enjoyed them very much. It seems you took the idea out of my book for introducing this type of springs." Which then says, "Yes, yes, yes, I took it from one of your books, Baby Sensei." So Naruto and Jiraiya like friendly with this. So Jiraiya then says not that these terms were very much horrendous and Tsunade never agreed to such things, it was just the council. Vishnu then says, yeah, it should have been the council which did this. So Naruto then says, Jiraiya says, I don't know if you've split this up on your spy network, but the cloud, sound, and the rock, as well as Kiri, are gonna attack your village soon. Which Jiraiya is pretty shocked about. Naruto then says, and I see no way of winning. They pretty much got a larger shinobi force than you. So Jiraiya then says, can you like come and help us? Jiraiya then says, in truth, Sensei, I really cannot. You know how the villagers of the leaf, treated me and everything, so it just might not be in the best interests. Naruto then says, I might offer asylum to the clans which are there. Which in the village, I might offer asylum to them so that they can come here and regrow their numbers and everything. Which Jiraiya then agrees to this idea, as he then thanks Naruto and then they head off back to the leaf. Time skip 1 month. Jiraiya arrives, back there as he then told Tsunade about everything, about how Naruto is the emperor. As the clan heads, and Tsunade and Jiraiya had a discussion, which was, like in the Hyuga compound, they had a discussion about, leaving the village and heading for the west, since, they may see no way of winning this. Orochimaru can use the Edo Tensei and reanimate tons of shinobi, dead shinobi which are powerful, and then kind of we are sealing them up. As well as getting crushed by the cloud, the stone, and the mist. So it's pretty much difficult for them to do this. So the clans then agree to this plan, as they start, finding themselves out. So it then starts, with the Yamanaka clan. We just say like the Yamanakas go first, then the Yugas, after the Yugas the Akamichis, after Akamichis the Inozukas, after Inozukas, after those clans are gone, there's like go on a big ship which not to like put at the port of Wave. They then get transported to the Empire. Naruto gave Jiraiya and Tsunade some special seals which if worst goes to worst they can immediately be teleported there by just applying a bit of chakra to these seals. So we then see the elders Koharu and Homura as well as the civilian council discussing stuff, with the oncoming war. So Jirai then says, that he's quitting from the Leaf Village. It's not really worth his time to die. As well as Tsunade, then quits as well and says, you can rule this village by your own. I'm leaving. So Tsunade, then takes the compounds, like the clan compounds also sealed up as well. And she then takes, the Senju compound with her, and she then dips as well. So pretty much the hidden Leaf village is pretty much left for these other big villages to take it out. So with other villages, receiving news that the clans of Konoha dipped from Konoha, they're like, damn it, but we can still take over this place. So they then go ahead and take over the village. And then the Fire Daimyo struck a deal. But the Fire Daimyo is also at the Empire, since it sees like the Fire Country is pretty much a lost cause now. So other clans like everyone else goes in and fights in the battle of taking over the Leaf village, which they met with not much resistance. They eventually take it over. The civilians which are there stand no chance at all, as well as the few ninjas which were left there, which did not want to leave. They pretty much have no choice, as they can get beat up and forced into submission. In the West, all the clans have arrived in the West perfectly and in good condition as they're introduced to their new clan compounds. That then takes the other old clan compound, as he then destroys them and stuff, taking them out as he gives them new clan compounds, which almost everyone is happy about. But yeah. So Naruto then takes representatives from each of these clans from the younger generation, like Shikamaru, Choji, Hinata, yeah, yeah, the likes of those people. Then like put into the council, like the count. There's like Naruto's council. Then there's another council, like for other matters. Then there's like the lowest council. So then put into the lowest council. So these guys don't hold much power like they did in Konoha, which some people may be much pissed about, but they're actually happy that they've been saved, so they cannot complain. So life in the West continues to traverse as normal until the East begins to set eyes onto the West. That's when shit becomes a problem now. So with the West, with the East seeing that has taken over the Leaf Village, they then combine themselves to make the the four Kage alliance. So Gara eventually agrees reluctantly, but he then agrees since this guy like forced his hand by taking his sister and his siblings. They take them. So Gara's hand is immediately then forced down. No, Gara is dead. It was I don't know what you guy Ibuki. I don't know this guy's name. That he takes over the reins of the village. So yeah, they then join into the four Kage alliance. So they begin setting their eyes, on the West, since that place is technologically advanced and they have a huge ninja force, but they have no tailed beasts. So the fake Madara, also then says, yeah, that he's got a plan to get them back, their weapons, is when they attack, that place. He also then reveals, to the Shichikage that the Emperor is actually the spawn of Minato Namikaze, which Onoki is pissed about, since Minato slaughtered tons of shinobi, and the perfect revenge to Minato will be killing his son. So that'll be perfect revenge for him, for Onoki. So the East, then makes tons of boats by using, Wave Country, which some the Wave citizens have been, have already left for the West, as well as the other countries, which are there, like Snow Country. The people of Snow Country were like Snow Country as a whole was taken by Naruto. He simply just did some gravity stuff and shifted some tectonic plates and lifted Snow Country out of there and placed it at the west, as well as these other small countries. But some of the small countries were eventually absorbed into this Shinobi alliance, or the four Kage alliance. So the East, eventually builds up, massive ships which they're gonna use to travel to go to the West and take it over. Naruto, hearing this news, because of his mentioned house, he eventually then dissolves his mentioned guild, since his end fucking is like fucking riches, like the richest they is like Solomon or some or Gilamish, something like that. He's pretty much rich, and he has all the money he can ever need. So the West, creates these ships as they in travel, along with their shinobis, as they're going over to take over, the West. So these guys are pretty much guessing that the West doesn't have that much power. But boy, are they gonna be surprised with Naruto. Naruto hears rumors, of the East coming to attack the West, because they've banded together and became, the Fokage Alliance. And so wanna go and fight. Naruto seeing this and says, "Ha, stupid mortals." So it's not just got that god complex, the bit of that god complex from Kaguya, as well as Atoria as well. She's like this like high and mighty complex. It's not really like absorb that from both of them. These foolish mortals think they can come and attack my kingdom and get away with it. No, no, no. So Naruto then launches this whole like navy or his armadas of ships, which these ships are pretty much advanced. They have cannonballs, gunpowder, guns, swords. You know, most of this evolved stuff, as well as this like hot his blimps. So yeah, when this like Naruto then creates like a thick mist which covers which like splits the north from the south. That no, the east from the west, which splits the east from the west. These Kages, then cross in. When they cross this mist, they are then met with an armada of ships as the battle then begins. So instantly they begin fighting, as some of the shinobi ships manage to break the formation of these other ships as they were fighting, as they like land on some land. When they go to the land, they also met with another force of shinobis which are there as they begin doing battle. This battle rages on for hours upon end as the shinobis eventually break through Naruto's defenses. They head over towards the main force. At the main force, the clans of Konoha and other countries, as well as Naruto's own army, are waiting for them. When they then arrive, then Naruto then puts on his war armor as he begins to fight. Naruto then activates his eyes as he also like goes fighting. Artoria is like slashing people from left and right, not even giving a flying fuck about who it is. Naruto then goes over and starts fighting these four Kages. Onoki and the Raikage, start using their like lightning coke and Platico style, which the Mizukage the Mizukage, which is not Mei. Mei, was assassinated. She was killed in her sleep. So I.O. is the Mizukage, since he's the one who did the deed. He saw like Mei was weak, were not wanting to join, so he killed her. Let me pause the video for a bit. Sorry for the pause, guys. So Naruto then battles the four Kages as he does battle with them. Naruto easily takes out, the Kazekage as well as the Mizukage, since they're pretty much weak. He takes them out, one-shots them with some Tritsugen balls. He then, begins to fight the Raikage in terms of speed, as Onoki, then does, the lightweight shoots on the Raikage, making him lighter and faster, as they begin to attack Naruto. Onoki manages to try and use his particle style on Naruto, which, it takes out Naruto's arm, but the arm instantly regenerates, a minute later. So, Naruto then goes ahead to kill them both. With Naruto's armada, the armada, actually succeed because, they have like excellent strategists, as they, they then like hound the whole army of, shinobis which are there, and their boats, so they're like locked in the center. And, they have their cannons ready to fire, which, the army eventually gives up, saying that there's no hope. They have received news that the Kages have died. So, Kage then goes and strips all of the army's chakra, all of it. She strips away all the chakra, as well as knowledge and ninjas and genjutsu, all that stuff. You just leave them with taijutsu knowledge. So, they're then sent over, to the back home. We then go back to their various villages and rebuild and, restock and stuff. Since, yeah, it just can't be helped, it had to be done. So, life in the West, continues to progress and the city keeps on advancing. So, time skip 20 years. These 20 years have been excellent for Naruto. Naruto has gotten married to, his beautiful wives, Kaguya and Athoria. is he loves them both dearly. He's also had, 4 children, which, two are girls and two are boys. So, like, born on the same day, which is very strange, but, just go with it. So, these kids, eventually grow up to rule the empire in place of their fathers, but, they don't rule, they just rule the states in it. But Naruto is still, the ultimate, ruler and emperor for hundreds and hundreds of years to come. So, guys, this is gonna leave off this video. I know that was whack and a bit off, but I just love spitting out content for you guys and love you guys very much. Please keep on supporting this channel, guys. Each time you guys like and subscribe, it helps me a lot, and I want to reach 2K by the end of the year, since you guys smashed my 1K goal. So we can just reach 2K by the end of, the year. So like and subscribe to this channel. Peace out.